As we talked about in Ricochet, we spent a good chunk of this last week playing Nioh, the Alpha Demo.
It is known.
You had mentioned in Ricochet
Mm-hmm.
about how challenging it was.
I died so much.
To give you a little bit of context in the game, they just pretty much drop you on a beach.
Mm-hmm.
You go in with your fists.
Yep.
In your inventory, this is slight spoiler but not much, you have a sword. But they don't tell you to equip it.
Or how to equip it.
Or how to use it. All of this you need to figure out on your own.
He watched me die several times, and he's like, hey, put on your sword. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't have a sword. If I had a sword, I'd be using it. Oh, wait, I did have a sword.
Yes, I did let her die several times before I told her, but not nearly as many times as I tried to duke it out with that first guy. Who kept stabbing me. And stabbing me. And stabbing me. And the screen kept reading.
You have been freed from the Mortal Coil.
So one may ask, why play this game? Are you going to pick it up?
I will if you do.
She didn't get quite as much time to spend with it as I did. We went and watched Captain America that night.
Mm.
But the thing that keeps you going with this game is just once you finally overcome that and you know how to beat the challenge and you continue to really make your character the samurai that he should be, there's just such satisfaction with what you've accomplished. And while the next challenge may be that much harder, like the final boss I got stuck on before we had to leave. Yes, I do not get the DLC because we went to opening night of Captain America.
Tear.
But just overcoming those challenges one by one and just empowering not only the character but also yourself. There's just something magical about it.
I think I kept playing it just because it impressed him. He was like, oh, you're actually kind of good at this game.
She was, by the end, she was getting pretty dang good at the game.
The thing about it is, even if you know where such and such person is that you're going to have to fight, you may or may not beat them that time around, because every time you die, they respawn. Every time you go back to the altar, they respawn. You know exactly where they are.
But turn your back, and you're dead.
I don't mean turn your back, even. I know that's a weakness, but, like, maybe you're trying to learn more about the axe this time, or your durability on your sword is low, so you've got to try your spear. I mean, there are all kinds of things that get thrown at you, and there are different stances you can use, and the game has a minimal tutorial that you get a bit of.
Very minimal.
But you're rewarded for learning the really complex combat system, and the only way, that you learn it is to try new things. And there are so many things to try, and it's hard to keep it all in your head. You get a lot of points to assign to your different weapons and skills, so then you want to try out that new skill. It only exists for this weapon, and so on and so forth. So there's a ton that you get to try out, even when you've only moved very little distance-wise in the game.
And speaking of distance-wise, even though you've only moved that little bit, the actual map is huge. What they included in this alpha demo was the size of many games.
I'm the kind of person who doesn't use the brakes in a racing game. So I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to use a shield in a fighting game. And this game really tested me because it's just as much about landing the blows as it is knowing when to dodge, knowing when to use your shield and exhaust the other person's stamina. And this game really rewards you for taking advantage of that system.
And you use stamina to dodge. You actually use more stamina to dodge than you do to block many shots. So, from what I've heard about other similar games, like the Souls games. It's a big change of pace for a lot of players. I haven't delved into that series yet. In fact, this week Blockbuster,
Whoa!
throwing it way back. In fact, this week Best Buy had Bloodborne on sale, so I am looking forward to jumping into that. As I am looking forward to jumping into Nioh once it finally releases.
And I just want to throw this out here, since both of those games are on the PS4 staring at me right now as we do this. The cover photo for Nioh and for The Witcher look uncannily similar. The fonts are not similar, but the colors are, with white and red, and the main characters are these dudes with long white hair that's pulled back, and they're wearing armor. It's a little bit uncanny how similar they look. Not saying anything weird's going on, just it's uncanny.
It is. It is an interesting shot.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have to take a screenshot to post it up here.
Sounds good.
Well, I'm excited for Nioh. I cannot wait to play more.
I am excited for it, but I also dread it because I didn't want to put the controller down. I wish there was more story.
Which, this is just an alpha, even, demo.
Yeah, I know,
But it seems like one of those games where the story, you kind of create yourself.
well, we'll have to wait and see.
For all things Nioh, stick with Crossfire Co-op.
See ya.